I'm not going to answer that.
Annual report.
I'm interested to see how we get another desk in here.
Hey, there is one already. You know, they took one out when they cut down.
The committee will come to order. Will Commissioner, staff, and guests please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Limited public comment. This time, any member of the public wishing to address the committee may do so for up to 3 minutes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. So my name is Bob Tunison.
Hold on just a second. I don't think your microphone is on.
Like just.
Testing 1, 2.
You hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Bob Tunison, Hastings Township. Lifetime resident of Hastings. Always been proud to say I lived in Hastings. I've been coming here since basically the first of the year, just to see how this process worked. Hoot and I have talked over the years about maybe getting involved with this, and every week I came here, I learned more about the process, and the amount of time that is probably the biggest thing that I've realized, the amount of time that every one of you guys put into this, whether it's coming here on Tuesday, all your meetings at nights with your different assignments that you've got. Unreal amount of time you devote to Hastings and Berry County. And that's what I want to say to you is I want to thank you for what you do every day. And I would like to say that I would like to run in a seat for this District 1 and give back to Hastings everything that I've, in my life and my family, have gotten from Berry County. And I would really be proud if it came to that. If people voted me in, I would serve the community well. So I want to announce that today. Thank you.
Thank you, and good luck to you. Is there further public comment?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Scott Savage from Hastings Charter Township. The war in Ukraine continues on, and it would be my desire that our government did more militarily to end this crisis. But I'm not in control of that, and you're not in control of that. But one thing we can do is donate to movements or events that support Ukraine. And along that line, this Saturday, our Rotary Club is hosting a fundraiser for Ukraine relief. You can find out about the fundraising effort on the Rotary Club Facebook page. And I would encourage everyone in Berry County to take part in some way for that fundraiser. That's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there further public comment?
Good morning, Gary White, Village of Nashville. Once again, running for county commissioner. There's been changes in who's running and things in my district, so it became interesting last Thursday. COA, want to talk about that a little bit today. Building needed a roof, and it hasn't been done, I don't believe. I think Berry Community Foundation has numerous contacts and ways of looking at possibly funding something for the COA. I think the commissioners would be well used or informed if they would contact them and ask them about what they can do for the COA instead of trying to do it all by yourself as a county government. They have donors that like to do things for the community, and once again, Berry Community Foundation might be a good way to go. I stopped today before I came here, and I seen the front of the courts building has been shuttered. What's the plan for the front of the courts building? You've had months to know that it was going to be shuttered, and should have had a plan in place for the sale of it. Do we really want to not put it back on the tax roll? It's kind of, you know, right now it looks like it's a county parking lot for county vehicles. That was all I seen over there. Good location, should be worth some money. And if you look at the money it's costing that you're going to amend today for the courts and law building, should be able to pay for that, I would think, and bring revenues back in. So that's one thing. Once again, I put a plan to you folks just to put a committee together. Very low cost last week. I was really hoping to see that on your agenda today, because if you don't start talking about it and planning for it, once again, it's going to be kicked down the road again. I don't understand why you can't put the committee together, to be just real honest with you, to get your design, to get the number of beds. What else could be put in there that might even help out the Commission on Aging? Could you use their facility to do that? But until you decide that you're going to build a jail, and the county is going to have to fund it, you might as well just come down to that, because I think people are fed up with millages. We'll find out here May 3rd what happens in Hastings, but you were told no on the COA millage. You were told no on the jail millage. The jail is your mandate by state constitution, and COA. If you look at Eaton County, theirs was private funding. It wasn't a COA, but a senior center, and you really need to hold a town hall to see what the people of Berry County need for a COA. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there further public comment? Hearing none, we'll move ahead. Interview for the Berry County Community Mental Health Authority Board. We have two positions, one a 3-year term and one a partial term. Today we will conduct interviews for Stacy Adams. Stacy, are you here? Well, maybe she's parking or we have an issue. Let's, if there's no objection, let's move ahead and go to the Homeland Security Grant. Hearing no objection, we'll postpone the item and move ahead. At this time, the Chair would entertain a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners adoption of Resolution 2207, a resolution of authorization for the 2020 Homeland Security Grant Program intergovernmental funding agreement between the County of St. Joseph and the County of Berry, and authorize the Chairman and Administrator to sign.
I'll make that motion.
Support.
Motion is made by Gibson, supported by Jackson. Discussion.
Is Jim here?
Michael, do you want to speak to this? If there's no objection, we're going to take a 5-minute recess. Hearing no objection, we'll stand at recess. We're ahead of schedule, so.
Okay, does that mean I should take a seat?
Yeah, so the question before,
In front of the microphone.
the question before the committee is to recommend to the Board of Commissioners adoption of Resolution 2207, a resolution of authorization for the 2020 Homeland Security Grant Program intergovernmental funding agreement between the County of St. Joseph and the County of Berry, and authorize the chair and administrator to sign. We are in discussion. Jim, you want to tell us what this is about?
Every region for Homeland Security funds has to elect a fiduciary. So we've changed from Van Buren, they didn't want to do it anymore, to St. Joe. So this and the next one will be the intergovernmental funding agreement between Berry County and St. Joe, so they can act on our behalf to receive and dissipate the funds that come in for Homeland Security grants.
Questions or comments from commissioners? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. This time, the chair would entertain a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners adoption of Resolution 2208, resolution of authorization for the 2021 Homeland Security Grant Program intergovernmental agreement, funding agreement between the County of St. Joseph and the County of Berry, and authorize the chairperson to sign.
One should be 2021, I believe, or 2020 and 2021. There's two different years.
Yep.
Okay.
So, does anybody want to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll say Gibson made the motion, Smelker seconded. Discussion? I did see David stepped out.
All right, I didn't know if you.
So this is the same thing, just for a different
Yeah,
fiscal year?
different grant cycle.
Any reason?
I don't think he'll want us to wait. Madam
Is there
Vice
any
Chair.
reason that the 2020 is just coming before us now?
Because we switched fiduciaries in the middle of the grant.
In the middle, okay.
These grants run for, they're much better than they used to be. They used to run for like 3 years, so we were always like 3 years behind on the grants. We only seem to be like 1.5, 2 years now. So that's why we got some funds to clean up and we switched fiduciaries.
Okay.
So.
All right, thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, the question before the committee is to recommend to the Board of Commissioners adoption of Resolution 2208, a resolution of authorization for the 2021 Homeland Security Grant Program intergovernmental funding agreement between the County of St. Joseph and the County of Berry, and authorize the chairman and administrator to sign. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you
Jim.
very much.
Next, we'll take Jim McManus with Planning and Zoning. This time, the chair would entertain a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of farmland and open space preservation, also known as PA 116, applications 22-1 through 22-3 for Mr. and Mrs. Kurt Chase in Section 1 of Carlton Township, Section 12 of Hastings Township, and Section 30 of Woodland Township.
So moved.
Support.
Motion is made by Smelker, supported by Getty. Discussion. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning. So they are three distinct properties, but each one of them is planned agricultural and zoned agricultural. The Planning Commission reviewed them last month and unanimously recommended that they be approved. Chases own a lot of properties.
They do.
This is just an add-on to their existing farming operations, so looked like a good idea.
Any questions or comments from commissioners? Hearing none, the question before the committee is to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of farmland and open space preservation, also known as PA 116, applications 22-1 through 22-3 for Mr. and Mrs. Kurt Chase in Section 1 of Carlton Township, Section 12 of Hastings Township, Section 30 of Woodland Township. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, Michael, let's take care of this budget amendment. If there's no objection. At this time, the chair would entertain a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of Budget Amendment 22A.
I'll make that motion.
Support.
Made by Connor, supported by Jackson. Discussion. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, everyone. This is the first budget amendment of 2022. It's not a large budget amendment or terribly comprehensive budget amendment, but it is an amendment that we need to make. Real quickly, general fund revenues remain unchanged. So the first 4 or 5 pages of the document remain unchanged. General fund expenditures, it's a very modest amendment. On page 7, we increased the appropriation for cooperative extension we've reduced the appropriation to cooperative extension by just shy of $2,500. That's due to the final contract costs that we've received. So that goes down, and then we increased contingency by the same amount. So on the general fund, while there's, again, that minor amendment, the overall expenditures and revenues remain unchanged at $19,269,628. For special revenue and other funds, there are some amendments that occur. The Road Commission reduces their appropriation. Got to get that pulled up real quick. 2 pages. So you'll notice that the Road Commission's overall revenues go down. Charlton Park, their revenues go down as well. Solid Waste has an increase in expenditures, and there are representatives here for Solid Waste if you have questions, but that's to increase the appropriation that they would make to the mini grant program. That'll come out of fund balance. Building rehabilitation, we increase expenditures to reflect the costs associated with the front of the court. And I keep calling it front of the court. It really is the courts and law renovation. Front of the court was a significant portion of it. But there was, as you'll remember, public defender and some other offices that were affected or impacted by the project. We did not spend all of the money, if you may, or pay all of the invoices in 2021. So this is to reflect the expenditures that will occur in 2022. Capital replacement, we increased the expenses for capital replacement as well. Again, significantly associated with paying the final bills related to the Courts and Law construction project. Commission on Aging, like Charlton Park, their revenues were decreased, and if I remember right, those were both due to calculated tax revenue. So as we, if you'll recall, when we do the budget, we're back in May, June, July. So now we get an opportunity to actually...
How are we off by that much? I mean, we have 673 was our projected revenues, and then our amended revenues were 608. That's
Which one are you looking at?
Charlton Park, line item 208. Usually we have a more accurate projection.
I can do a little research into that. I'll be happy to determine where the calculation. I don't know right off the top of my head, but I can take a closer look at that.
Okay. So, Commissioners, this is our first budget amendment for the year. Looks like the big changes or significant changes happen in our sobriety courts and our drug court. Charlton Park, as we just mentioned, had a notable change. Solid waste has increased costs. Questions or comments?
You did reference sobriety court and drug court, and I see Tammy Price is here. If you have any questions related to
Tammy,
that.
if you'd like to come up and speak to this. It should be noted that the revenues and expenditures are up, so Like we're providing more service.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So the amendments really are the result of applying for the BJA grants and being awarded those grants. Additionally, we were awarded some additional money through our OHSP grant for sobriety court. And so I shifted some money around to kind of even it out. And drug court, we expected $2,000 more than what they granted to us. So really it's just modifying the budget to match the grant awards.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. Vivian, did you have something?
No, I didn't know if you wanted Patty to give a report on the mini grant program for solid waste oversight.
Sure.
That's why we're amending that budget, because we're,
Yeah, let's have Patty come up. Thank you, Tammy. Morning, Patricia.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Commissioners. Appreciated the invitation.
this will kind of give the mini grant program a news release too.
Yes, we haven't.
Big push for a mini grant.
Yes, and this is for recycling. So the Solid Waste Oversight Committee hasn't had the opportunity to have that mini grant program for a couple of years now, and so they're bringing it back, and they're very excited about that. The way it works is that people would apply for some funding, and they would have to pay a third of it, and then the other 2/3 would be covered by the mini grant. And I believe the most that they can ask for is like $6,000 or something like that, which is why we call them mini grants. This is bringing back a program that was very popular and successful, and we're very happy that we can do that and hope that you agree with us.
Any questions or comments? Vice Chair Connor?
These funds come from the tipping fees from landfill. So, and then this is our way of giving back to the municipalities or groups that want to build their recycling program. Is that not?
That is correct, yes.
And so to help some of these, there's some townships that don't have any recycling, I should say some municipalities. So this is kind of a way to help them if they want to get on board and start a program or build the program that they have.
Any other questions or comments?
I had a question. Ideally, what kind of projects do you want to see? You have a wish list?
Jim Brown is also here from the Solid Waste Oversight Committee. He might have some suggestions, but I know that we've been working on the idea of maybe a mobile recycling.
Jim Brown usually does not have opinions.
Do you have a wish list or ideal projects that you'd like to see brought through the mini grant program?
I honestly wish we did. The new, now that we have a recycling coordinator that can literally have some boots on the ground, I think we're going to see more townships get serious about doing something. The ones that are doing something now, for us to go back and ask for something, that's going to be very easy to do. I got something in mind for our township. But with Rachel France out there in the weeds now full time on this thing, and maybe. I personally don't know of those particular townships if they have any at this point, but I'm very sure that she's going to stir something up. The money, like Vivian said, it's paid from the tipping fees from the landfill. And this is one of the unforeseen advantages and disadvantages of recycling. The more money that goes into that landfill, the more tipping fees come back to us that are trying to recycle. So if we're doing our job in driving that landfill volume down because we're recycling, it affects our bottom line. We don't get as much money to do what we're trying to do. So this is the really weird thing about recycling in this country is that on one hand we're trying to make a use of this material. On the other hand, it's basically more efficient to our pocketbooks to throw it in the landfill. So until we get this thing, let's say, more evenly divided or decided, we're going to go this way forever. Our township has personally used these little mini grants. Very good. We have one of the most, without bragging, but I will, one of the most efficient source-separated recycling units in Berry County.
In Michigan, I mean, you've received state awards for the big green monster next to the township hall.
Solar powered, no less.
Solar powered big green monster.
Should we have one of those in every township in Berry County? Maybe, maybe not. We don't know, but this is something that I think we should take a really hard look at and be more efficient about what we do. But we're still back to it takes money. I don't care what you say. And here's the next thing about recycling is everybody is saying, oh, if we can recycle this, we can. This is worth so much money. Well, up until about a year ago, a lot of this material was worth nothing. It was worth more to throw in the landfill.
Things have probably changed a lot with the.
So it's a double-edged sword, but.
So specifically, are you looking for any type of programs? What do you expect to get out? What project do you expect to approve out of the mini grant program? Dumpsters.
I think so, or facilities where there aren't any now, and also we're hoping to see what kind of creative requests we get from our townships.
Cool.
I think Nashville is going to, if I remember what Rachel had said, that Nashville will probably be applying to help with their project that they have going on over there for this one of their mini grant awards.
Absolutely.
Time will tell.
Time will tell. Well, thank you guys for your leadership. Are there any other questions or comments? Hearing none, the question before the committee is to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of Budget Amendment 22A. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oh, I'm sorry, Gary, I missed you. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. But, Gary, I'll let you speak on it.
Well, I was wondering, Nashville does want to do a lot of different things on this. Are they going to fund what we have as project? Because that is the problem with two townships are built. So I'll get it with them. But if we have an idea of what to apply for, it makes it easier for the application.
Well, the application should be available very soon, if it isn't already.
More to come.
And I know that Rachel has been working with Nashville, and she'd be happy to continue to work with you more.
But the board is the one that approves these, and if you're not sure what you're going to approve, it makes it difficult to apply, is where I get it.
So the grant description is capital installations that allow people to give opportunity to recycle. It's not planning, it's not.
Well,
It still makes it difficult. When I went to the DNR grant writing seminar, I went to see, and I was told how to get the grants, and we did. Right now, I'm not hearing what we should really be applying for because the commission doesn't understand what they really want to approve.
I know what I want to approve. It's capital installations that make it easier for people to recycle. We have done enough planning. We've had enough studies. We're not going to legislate a behavior change for people that do not want to recycle. For those that want to recycle, this mini grant program is to assist townships to do just that. That's my view. What are the rest of the board thinking?
I can,
Yeah.
so we've been in the process of tweaking the grant application, and like Ben said, most of it is for,
Dumpsters.
yes, infrastructure, you know, for a recycling program. But we will have that out shortly. We meet again the second the second Friday of each month. So we will be meeting again in May, and we'll hopefully everything, was she gonna bring that back? I think she was bringing a final product back for us to look at next month.
It's assumed they'll have it done.
But that's what it's, yeah, it's not about education, applying for an it's,
No, we have Nashville,
Yep.
Big Grove, we have big plant in that facility.
Yep.
That costs big dollars. And the other question was on the rehabilitation fund. That supports a lot. Don't take this derogatory, but it seems to be that's where the money pit is. They're the ones that are always asking for upgrades, renovations, and it's always approved based on, well, now it's public safety. Well, the real public safety starts down the road at the sheriff's department. So I'm gonna say once again that we need to look at funding, because that's a lot of money we put into the courts and laws, but we're not putting it in to where it starts at. Thank you.
Any other comments?
I have a question. Just out of curiosity, out of how many townships we have in Berry County, how many currently have recycling programs and how many don't? Or how many are...
I don't have the answer to that, but we can get you that information. Okay, we're going to move ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, now we will conduct interviews for the Berry County Community Mental Health Board. So is Stacy here? Stacy, are you here? Hi, Stacy. Come on in, have a seat. How are you doing today?
I'm well.
Great. So you have applied to serve on the Community Mental Health Board. We appreciate your application. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you'd like to serve?
Well, I'm Stacey Adams, and I work at Western Michigan University, and I also work part-time at a bakery. I have 3 children, 2 adults. One is, she is graduating this next month. She's also Miss Berry County teen, and she's going to be competing in the Miss Michigan USA.
Oh.
She graduates on May 26th, and we leave right after graduation to travel over to Fort Huron, where she'll be competing.
Well, it's a busy time for your family.
Very, very busy. I'm also, if that wasn't enough, I'm also a graduate student as well.
Wow. What are you taking? Or what are you studying?
I am, my program of study is organizational leadership and change. So it's quite different than undergrad. It was, going back to school was a little late in life for me because I was busy being a single mother raising 3 kids. So, and I'm kind of looking for something to do kind of just for me. And I've always had an interest in like local politics. So I think serving on a board of mental health would be a really good fit for me. As well, I'm also a veteran of Desert Storm.
Well, thank you for your service.
And so I've been very active with, the VA. I'm also considered a Service Connect. I have like a 70% Service Connect disability. So yeah, I'm very familiar with counseling and mental health and just the importance of mental health.
Great. Well, what would you like to achieve on the Mental Health Board, or I should rather, what programs or policies would you advocate for on the Mental Health Board?
I really feel feel that with just going over some issues just currently with my adult son, I think confidentiality is a big thing. And
Okay.
I think sometimes when you walk into a room and you don't know what to expect, I really feel that when you do walk into a room and you're terrified because you don't know exactly what's going on with you internally, I feel that, you know, providing good customer service, but also with that said, keeping some of your information confidential
Yeah.
right from the very beginning. Like if you could even go into more of a side room and
Yeah.
discuss things privately. I've noticed through some of the community mental health that my son has received that sometimes it's just very generalized. So I think confidentiality is very important to me, as well as striking when the coal is hot, I guess you could say, because when you determine that it's time to get help for something, if you don't get that help in response, like within 24 hours, I find that you tend to talk yourself out of
Right.
determining, oh, do I really have a problem, or do I really need this? And more chances you will have already asked the opinion of other people. And maybe you ask the opinion of the wrong person. And they say, oh no, you don't need this, or, you know. So those are some things that I would really like to see changed in mental health. I would like to also see some of the red tape through mental health, kind of, especially if it's an emergency situation.
Right.
And,
Okay, cool. We're going to go into questions. We're going to start with Commissioner Smelker.
Hi, Stacy. Thank you for applying. Have you had a chance to go to any mental health board meetings?
I have not. Like I said, this is probably the first step. Is just interviewing and seeing what the board, you know, entails and see if it is a good fit. I know that one requirement, potentially, from what my understanding was, do I have some experience with my own mental health challenges? And yes, absolutely. And I feel like, you know, when you have those experiences, you have a lot to bring to the table, especially if you have been successful at using some of the tools that you've learned along the way in implementing those changes of mental health in your life.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Commissioner Getty.
Thanks for applying. I see that you applied for 4 boards, so it looks like you're willing to serve where you're needed.
Exactly.
Hate to infer that, but so we really appreciate that, and just a willingness to serve in these times is commendable. Do you have a preference on any of these? Would mental health have been your first choice?
When I spoke with Mr. Geiger, yeah, I think it would be. It is. I don't know if it was before when I did apply for these. I know that I do have an interest in serving in some capacity. But yeah, definitely, it is my first choice.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Campbell.
Hi. First question, how do we get rid of the poll?
Cannot be solved.
Oh, how you feel about that?
I'd just like to say that obviously thank you for applying. This is a difficult area to be in anyway, and our society is finally starting to recognize all the issues that are involved with this. I think we've all, myself included, been right up close to it and personal at one time or another in our life. So thank you so much for stepping up. You look like your qualifications are more than enough, and you certainly have proven that you get things done. So congratulations for you.
Commissioner Jackson.
Good morning, Stacy. I noticed on your resume, Heroes Bystander Intervention Trainer. What is that?
Probably it was back in 2017. Western Michigan University grant, like a block grant, to get a program implemented that basically covers a lot of different issues. Bystander intervention is just like speaking up when you see something. If you see something, say something. And but it also covers like a broad, I guess, topics of anywhere from sexual harassment, sexual assault on campus. If you see someone, even in a staff position at WMU, if you see a student struggling, perhaps you may want to speak up and say something. Right now, there is a huge campaign with mental health at WMU, and bystander intervention. I went through the training process, and I would conduct some workshops just at a staff level with fellow staff members and faculty members about what bystander intervention looks like. And also, I know the person who was leading the program was also going out to schools in the community and teaching what, you know, bystander intervention is. And it's been a huge success at Western. Some things seem like it's common sense, but it really, I mean, you just don't know how to implement that common sense when you find yourself in a situation. So,
Awesome, thank you. Appreciate your application. Very well-rounded resume. I think you'll be a good addition to that board.
thank you.
Vice Chair Connor.
Thank you. Thank you for applying and thank you for your service. I'm going to ask you a question because we're all aware of it, but the homeless, and there's a big connection to mental health and the homeless. And with your, in your ability to solve unstructured problems and fact finding, could you just share some of your insights about how those two are connected and what we can better do to solve our homeless problem? Because it does tie into mental health.
Oh, absolutely. I think definitely mental health can tie into homelessness. But I think if everybody's being honest with each other, we're all just one bad decision away from being homeless. And I also would like to advocate for women who are in coercive, controlled situations. You may not have access to money, could be in an abusive relationship. So homelessness is definitely a very complex problem, and for me, it is just having those resources available when you need them. Like when women want to leave an abusive situation, it's on their mind right then and there. And, you know, not being able to get the resources they need within 24 hours, it's crucial. Because again, you're more likely to talk yourself out of that situation. As far as homelessness, I mean, for people who have mental health challenges, I know at the VA we do everything we can to assist with our homeless veterans. And yeah, there is some red tape that's involved. There's lengthy application processes, but we have the staff to help our veterans. And I think that that's something that's very important, is that we have staff who is going to be kind and compassionate towards that person in their situation, not going to make them feel even worse about being in that situation, and staff who knows where to get the resources to help that person.
Well, it's also a spectrum. I mean,
Absolutely.
you can't enable poor behaviors that got them there to the first place.
Well, poor behavior mental health, I mean, what came first, you know? Is it their mental health challenges that is causing the poor behavior, or is it the poor behavior, you know, causing the mental health? Yeah, I agree. It is a fine line there. It's a very complex.
Yeah.
It is.
The first step to
recovery.
yeah, the first step to recovery is thinking you might want to get better.
Well, that's what's so important too.
Yeah.
As I said, like within that 24 hours, you know, a lot of domestic relationship disputes happen on the weekends. Who's available on the weekends?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all I have. That's the only question I had.
Commissioner Gibson.
I'm impressed with your application. I have no questions, but thank you for applying.
All right. We have no further questions. Is there a motion to appoint Stacy?
I'll make that motion.
Support?
So motion by Jackson, supported by Smelker, to recommend the Board of Commissioners appointment of Stacy Adams to serve on the Berry County Community Mental Health Authority Board for a 3-year term that begins on April 1st, 2022 and expires on March 31st, 2025. Looks like we have two options. I'm going to go, if there's no objection, can you withdraw your motion?
Motion withdrawn.
Second.
All right, so there's two options here. You want to do the term that expires on 24 or 25?
I'd like to 25.
Can we ask the applicant
Yeah.
first?
I recommend the 24 in case you don't like it.
You know, I'm open to the 25, but the 24 is fine too, because, you know, I haven't been to a board meeting yet, and I don't know what's ahead, but I am definitely willing to dedicate my time and effort.
We'll let you pick.
I'll do the 24.
Okay. So the chair to entertain a motion to recommend the Board of Commissioners appointment of Stacy Adams to serve on the Berry County Community Mental Health Authority Board to serve on a 3-year term that begins on April 1st, 2022. That began on April 1st, 2021 and expires on March 31st, 2024. Anyone want to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Support.
So it's moved by Gibson, supported by Jackson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Congratulations. We'll formally
Thank
make
you.
the appointment next week.
All right.
Appreciate you. All right, limited public comment. This time, any member of the public wishing to address the committee may do so for up to 3 minutes.
Hello again, Gary White, Nashville. John Wood, once again, what do you say? Failure to plan to fail. You're in closed section looking at buying property. I'm gonna guess the property is probably private property will take off the tax roll. At this point in time, you have no plan for the building across the road and what it could be used for instead of buying more property. If, as county commissioners, you don't have an overall plan for Berry County, should you really be looking at buying more property? At the last meeting, I made some suggestions about putting a place on all your agendas for discussion, where commissioners could have discussion open about things that are commented on. Of course, that did not happen. So it's just a matter, do you really take public comment seriously? Do you have the ability to plan? Is planning better ahead of time instead of reacting? If you're going to purchase a property, renovations would probably have to take place. Agency would then move in, and then you'd probably have 2 buildings that you need to have to take care of, or whatever, get rid of. So before you buy a property, as commissioners, it would seem to me better to plan for what the county has and needs instead of react to what you want. Emotional spending of taxpayer dollars is a feel-good, not necessarily a mandate. So I think you really need to sit back and say, let's put a complete plan together. What can be moved? Who should move? Can the foundation help you folks out with the COA? And your fiduciary responsibility is to the taxpayers and how you spend the money, not just to spend the money.
go out of here and you talk to one or two people, and you don't put nothing on your next agenda, you succeeded. You know, once again, you want a plan for the county not to fail, so that means you need a plan. Thank you.
Is there further public comment?
Hello, Charles Hertzler, City of Hastings. Last week I had the opportunity to attend the Rutland Township Board meeting, and an interesting topic come up there. It was recommended that the township pay Algonquin people $14,000, or they take and pay the bill $14,000 for their study for broadband and sewer that was given to them by the county for ARPA money. And I brought, they were saying it was just for sewer. I brought up the fact that I said, no, it said sewer and broadband. It kind of turned into a little bit of a heated discussion. I suggested that they get a hold of Michael Brown and get a clearer concept of the contract. But the bottom line was, why was Rutland Township put in the middle to be, they have to pay the bill of $14,000 for the Algonquin people on the ARPA money, and then submit the bill to the county to get reimbursed. And if the Rutland, or the Algonquin people had made a mistake, who would be on the hook for $14,000? They didn't follow all the ARPA contract that you guys came forward, which did say broadband and sewer. Would Rutland Township then be on the hook for the $14,000 they paid? Why was Rutland Township even brought in the middle of this? I know you can't answer that, but I mean, I'm just bringing this to fruition here to make it more known to people that the county is using the townships to help deal with ARPA money, instead of the people that got the money going directly to the county commissioners. I just thought that was very interesting. My other comment is, again, going back to jail, you got all this money for courts and law, you got all this money, we're making budget. There was nothing brought forth in the budget about building a jail. For 14 years, you kicked it down the road, you're constitutionally obligated to have a jail for this county, and yet you do nothing to bring forth money for the jail, other than to try to pass a millage. I put forth on Facebook an idea that maybe people could donate and have a tax-deductible donation to help build the jail. I talked to John Smoker about it. I've had a lot of negative response to that, because a lot of people don't even want to have to pay for a jail or fund a jail or even donate for a jail, because we need to make the county less criminal so we don't have to have a jail. So I'm going, well, then obviously that idea is not going to work either, but we have to come up with a way to build a jail. You know it's constitutionally required, and I showed you the case law about it, decided by the Michigan Supreme Court and stuff. We need to start doing something about getting money together for a jail. You need to put it into the budget. You have to tighten up strings someplace. Maybe, I'm not sure, because I'm all new to this. I got my opinions, but they're my opinions. I hopefully do get elected, and I can be on the board so we can get more involved with this and stuff, and maybe actually have a say that makes a difference. But thank you.
Is there further public comment?
Cell phone bills. Just got a couple things I'd like to say. One about the ARPA money for the trails. Get $1 million for that. Is there going to be the inflation cost on top of that, or did you put that in place? It was originally $650,000, then it went up to $1 million. And then as far as the blue zones go, seen some, they're starting to do run little things in the paper. The first thing that I seen was how to live a better life, have a garden. You're coming into a rural county and telling people to plant a garden, $100,000, kind of a waste of money. And then, since 1971, from the, it's called NORS, the National Outbreak Reporting System, as far as foodborne, waterborne, animal contact, environmental, person-to-person, or unknown, deaths since 1971, 104. But I can't sell pickles at the Middle's Farmers Market because I might kill someone from contamination. Worse, maybe they'll get the shits. Thank you.
Please use family language. No, this is a public meeting. All right. Next public comment. Hearing none, if there's no objection, the board will now adjourn. Committee's